What's going on, rSpace fans? In this episode, we've got one where a girl is being accused of being selfish because she won't have her sister's baby. Interesting. Let's see how it goes. So, just over 4 months ago, I gave birth to my fourth and last child. It was a high-risk pregnancy, and the birth was very difficult. I won't go into detail as it is still hard for me to think about. Me and baby are both fine now. My doctors advised me that it would be best to not have any more kids, and I agreed. My husband just recently had a vasectomy and is now recovering. My sister and her boyfriend have tried planning for a family for a while, but recently found out she can't conceive. She's been very upset about this, and I do feel sorry for her. Our family mentioned adoption or surrogacy for them, and even though my sister's boyfriend was on board, my sister said she needed time to think. Well, a couple nights ago, my sister called me to tell me her and her boyfriend had agreed on surrogacy, and we talked for a bit. After a while, she brought up the fact how I had done so well in all my pregnancies and how I must have loved being pregnant. I knew exactly where this was going and reminded her how my last pregnancy was, and yet she told me everything was fine now, so what was my issue? I told her that even though I'm around now, I won't put myself through that again, and just because I am fine now doesn't mean everything will be fine the next time. She then straight up asked me if I will be her surrogate or not. I straight up told her no. She then started screaming into the phone about how selfish I am and how I need to look out for my sister and help her when she needed it. I told her I would help her with anything else, but I was not putting my own health at risk and potentially leave my kids without a mom and my husband a widow. My sister went on to continually scream about how selfish I was being and how much a bitch I was being. I hung up on her. I didn't think about it and went to bed. The next morning, my phone was blown up with Facebook messages and calls from friends and family. My sister had gone on Facebook after I hung up on her, and she went and complained on Facebook about me. She went on about how I wouldn't let her be a mom, and how I had 4 kids while not being a nice sister and giving her a baby. I was apparently being selfish. My mom and small handful of people are extremely angry at me and calling me all sorts of names for being selfish, while my dad, brothers, and several other people are taking my side. Everyone on my sister's side don't want to hear my side of the story. They think I'm doing this for my own selfish intentions and not my health. My mom and dad have been fighting back and forth now because my dad won't take my sister's side, and this is exactly like when we were kids. My mom would always take her baby's side. I'm extremely pissed off that this has caused problems to the point my sister gets family involved. I should not have to put my own health at risk for her. I don't think I'm being selfish at all, but I'm not sure how to fix this. Wow, what a jacked up story. Let's see what the community says. Bourgeois, or maybe poor GOIS, I don't know, says, I'm the infertile sister in my family, and I'm sorry to say she may never get over this. But no is a complete and perfectly fine answer. You don't have to fix this. You aren't a broodmare, and while your sister's trauma around infertility is certainly understandable, it is in no way your cross to bear, and her reaction is so far over the line it circles the globe. She needs counseling, and your mom needs to back off. My best advice would be to focus on your own health and little family. And if you aren't relying on your mom or extended family for help, some breathing room sounds like a good idea. Sugar Puff Foggy Bottom says, yes, and I'm going to add, being pregnant is not fun or easy. It's hard work for the body, and delivery is always a risk for the baby and the mother. Now to take on the ethical issues of being a surrogate with your eggs, your body, for your sister who is wildly inappropriate on Facebook about your willingness to conceive a child for her and a man she is not legally married to. What kind of family stability is there? If your mother is so protective of her baby, then she should pay for a surrogate or hassle another relative for her. And if she is still in premenopause, she can do it herself. Here's a statement for you for Facebook if you want to bother. Friends and family, it has come to my attention that my sister posted regarding my willingness to be her surrogate. This whole situation is very sad. I wish she could have the experience I've been blessed to have. However, my last pregnancy was on doctor's orders to be my final pregnancy. We are no longer able to bring children into this world. I know that a few of you were very supportive of my sister's demand of my family to have a child for her. Insert names of supported women here. Are any of you available to make her dream of becoming a mother come true? I hope that you will step up to do this for my sister, considering how much you support her. OP, you can just sit back and watch as your sister sees that. No one will do this for her. No one. You need to take it off the table as you're having to be her only option. Let other women who have been downright evil to you take on the heat. She'll not have one friend to stand beside her. On top of which, I would never have a baby for someone like your bully sister or her boyfriend. Oh, there's an update. So I did what a few people suggested and wrote a post on Facebook about my situation. I used a few people's words from here. I hope people don't mind. Quite a few people who were on my sister's side told me that when they read her post, they messaged her and she told them about our conversation, but didn't bring up my problems with my last pregnancy. And they are all disgusted for her to keep such information like this out of her post. A few family members who I thought knew about my situation didn't actually know and called to apologize. A few people still think I'm not doing the right thing though. Several people tagged my sister in my post to tell her off, but she has blocked everyone and called to scream at me for writing about personal information. I ended up hanging up on her. Her boyfriend, who doesn't go on Facebook that much, was looking through posts yesterday to find all this drama. He called me and explained he had no idea my sister even asked me, and even brought up finding a surrogacy with her, but she always complained it was too much, and also brought up adoption a lot, and she always said, maybe. He also told me that this was something he would have talked her out of if she brought it up to him. Needless to say, he was very much against the idea. My mom never commented on my post or said anything, so I called her to get together for lunch and she actually agreed. But by the time I arrived, she started telling me off for going on Facebook to complain. Apparently, I should talk privately, and this was a family matter. I then asked her how my body was a family matter, and all she said was, I made you, so it's a family matter. I then went on to tell her how it wasn't, and what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, and all she said was, they will live. I could not believe the stubbornness of this woman. I then went on to tell her that whether they lived or not, it was still going to break them. My oldest child would go back to her dad, and the younger three would stay with my husband. Separating them would break them even more. She still said they would live, and then went on to tell me that I need to do the right thing for my family, because giving birth to 4 kids isn't, so a 5th wouldn't be a big deal, and I needed to grow up and act like an adult. At this point, I pretty much just got up and left. I literally cried all the way home from how angry and upset I was with this woman. Not long after that, my dad showed up at my doorstep and asked if he could stay for a while. Apparently, he asked my mom how our lunch went, and my mom told him I was still refusing to do a simple task for my sister, and when my dad pressed her for information, she wouldn't give him anything else. So he told her off for not thinking of all her kids instead of her golden child, because things could end worse this time, and my mother only told him that it's my fault then for not looking after myself. So my dad left her. We sat down and I told him what actually happened, and he wasn't happy at all. My dad even kept both my brothers informed too, and they've tried talking sense into our mom, but she still isn't budging. In all honesty, this has depressed me. I feel my mom is grandchildren hungry, if that's a thing. It isn't really thinking of the negatives here. She's ruining relationships with 3 of her children and husband to make her baby happy. In all honesty, there have always been situations between any of us siblings where my sister gets away with everything. My mom never told her no, so she is definitely a spoiled child. There would have been some point when me or my brothers wouldn't be speaking to our mom or sister, so it's now come to that time where everyone is starting to cut her off. My dad has been living with me since he left my mom, and the kids and my husband love having him around. I know he will eventually try talking to my mom again, but whether they get back together or not just depends. In all honesty, it seems like my mom doesn't care, and if they do divorce, I'll probably be to blame. Can already see that happening. What a wild ride. Let's see what the top comment has to say. Fragrant Current says, your mom and sister are way out there. As a younger woman, I offered to be a surrogate for one of my sisters. After a serious discussion between the adults directly concerned and nobody else, she turned me down because she was worried about the potential health risks for me in even a healthy, normal pregnancy. She couldn't imagine wanting a birth child so much she'd risk a sister she loved. Your mother and sister are deliberately telling you your life is worthless compared to their shared desire for a baby. A baby they will likely feel free to dismiss and belittle as they have you if it isn't exactly what they wanted and do exactly as they say. No contact with these narcissistic, ignorant individuals seems to be the best, most self-respectful path. Their sense of entitlement to your body and you will only grow over time. Good luck, OP. You don't owe your sister or your mom anything.